Welcome to the Q1 2025 earnings call for the Blue Power Group Limited. I am Renee McDonald from Learn, Grow, Invest, your moderator for this call. And with me today is the General Manager for Blue Power Group, Vijay Tolan, who will be taking you through the performance of Blue Power for Q1 2025. Now, before we jump in and before I hand over to Vijay, let us open with a word of prayer. Heavenly Father, we thank you for this day. We thank you for this opportunity to come together in this way to share the business of Blue Power, Lord, with their shareholders and potential shareholders. Lord, I pray that this call will be beneficial, it will be educational and informative for those who watch it, and that it will be to the betterment of Blue Power as a listed company on the Jamaica Stock Exchange. We thank you so much, Lord, for the technology, the opportunity, and everything that enables this call today. And we just pray you're covering over it and you're covering over the company, Blue Power Group Limited. In Jesus' name, amen. So now, Vijay, over to you to share with the shareholders more about Blue Power and what it is that has gone and what is to come.
Thank you very much, Renee. I appreciate the introduction. And good morning to everyone watching on YouTube, and I believe as well, Renee, will it be IG as well?
Right, IG and LinkedIn.
And LinkedIn. So thank you. This earnings call for us is very important, and for me, I want to use this as an opportunity as well to introduce Blue Power Group Limited to investors, potential investors, and just people listening. And so firstly, I'd want to say from my end, it is an honor and a pleasure to serve as the General Manager of Blue Power Group Limited. It is a truly progressive Jamaican company, and over the years, we've laid a strong foundation for manufacturing in Jamaica. And importantly, this foundation has been supported by visionary leaders and guided by a clear and strategic direction. Along with our executive director, Lisa Kong, who has been with this company since inception, really, and has developed what I would say is institutional knowledge that's very wide in our industry and in our business. Our team comprises of exceptional individuals who not only understand our mission, but also demonstrate the highest levels of commitment to their roles and responsibilities. To the outside world, Blue Power may be just a soap factory, but what I'd like to share is that beyond those blue gates at 4 Victoria Avenue is a company that is deeply patriotic, a Jamaican company. And we are driven by a strong belief in breaking barriers, setting ambitious goals, embracing challenges, and most importantly, creating real value for our shareholders. On that note, at our recent AGM, we spoke about the past financial year, which saw numerous positives, including increased year-over-year profits. But for this presentation today, I'll seek to update you on our progression since then, and therefore speak to our Q1 results. And as I speak about our Q1 results, I plan to take you on a journey for that quarter, and in taking on that journey, provide you with some insight on our Blue Power business so you can get a much better understanding of what we do here. So to put our business into perspective, our goal here at Blue Power is to manufacture soaps across every tier on the soap shelf. And these soaps include the value tier beauty soaps, traditional soaps, antibacterial soaps, premium, mid-premium, and laundry soaps. And so what that means is, with the capabilities that we have here at our factory, we want to be everywhere on that soap shelf. In the bath soap category and the laundry soap. And the bad soap category, where you have what we'll call cheap and cheerful soaps that are priced low, we want to make sure that there's soaps on that shelf that come from our factory. In the traditional space, where these are soaps that are called beauty soaps in Jamaica, been around for a very long time, and they offer a unique perspective or unique proposition of being value brands. So they're not too expensive, but they offer the desired benefit of cleanliness and hygiene. We want to be on that shelf. You have the antibacterial area, you have the antibacterial segment, and that is heavily focused on germicidal and being germ killing. We want to be there. And for the soaps that are premium and mid-premium soaps from Blue Power, we have that capability to be on that shelf, and we're there. In the natural space, these are soaps that have some unique value propositions and tend to provide the user with the proposition of having less harmful chemicals or no harmful chemicals. We want to be in that space, and we do play in that space. And even as far as medicinal space, soaps in the medicinal space, soaps that offer those benefits. And on the laundry side, just to give you this overview of what we do, any soap in Jamaica, we call it cake soap for years. We are the champions there as well. And we manufacture very well all cake soaps that you potentially see on the shelf that have been established in Jamaica for a very long time. So ultimately, as a factory, that is what Blue Power does right now. And to kind of just put it all together and put some visuals to it, I want to just share with you a very quick snapshot of our factory. Now, if you're hearing the sound right now, that's the sound of quality soap being made at the Blue Power factory. And just a very brief overview. We utilize palm-based noodles, palm-based fatty acids in all our soaps. And so all our soaps are vegetable-based. So I just want to make that clear. Every soap coming onto the Blue Power factory is vegetable-based. Our process goes through a mixing, milling, and plotting process, which is extruded essentially in the form of soap after all key raw materials have been combined and gone through that process. And we utilize machinery to stamp or carve out these soaps in particular shapes and sizes for the benefit of our customers. And with that said, our business model really speaks to Blue Power Group Limited being excellent private labelers and excellent contract manufacturers for customers. And so for all the soap tiers and all the soap types that I previously mentioned, we want to manufacture these soaps for customers that are serious about a few things, including distribution, investing in their brands, building their volume, and ultimately, we're interested in working with customers that have a plan. And so when I say customers in this regard, I want to make the point as well that as soap manufacturers who are serious about building Jamaica, we are not only interested in customers that are massive, right? We're interested as well in customers that are young entrepreneurs who have a strong desire for nation building, a strong desire for manufacturing and building their brands. And so over time, we have welcomed large distributors, but we've also welcomed smaller customers who have their plans and they're very serious about it. They're very intent on kind of pivoting from a startup phase of their brands to, getting their brands good distribution island-wide. And so we welcome, as a company, serious customers who have that type of mindset. Now, our business model and how we see ourselves being successful in the space, and this is particularly true as well for Q1, where we're gonna go through the results, is that our service levels to our customers are paramount. And a key part of our ethos here at Blue Power is to treat our customers as our partners. It's important for us to understand their needs, their objectives, and their business. And in understanding all of these elements, this is what really positions us as a private labeler, as a contract manufacturer, as a partner, to be a solution for any business ideas, any business problems that they may encounter. And through this approach, what we've been able to do is innovate with our customers. And this relates both to existing and new customers. And thus, we're able to improve on their products and also develop new ones. And to support these goals, Blue Power has made capital investments in numerous areas and in numerous pieces of equipment. And the investment in this capital expenditure has essentially been beneficial for us, particularly for Q1, as we surpassed various targets, including revenue targets. And with that said, I will jump straight into the financials and touch on Q1. Now, you will see where our revenue for Q1 was about $234 million, and it represented an 8% growth year over year. Now, we attribute this to our continued partnerships with our customers, whom we work closely with to develop their brands and to ensure that we both develop a win-win situation for each other. So I pointed to service levels earlier, and again, I'm going to have to reemphasize it, because the truth is, in our business and the way we see ourselves growing with our strategic partners is really through relationship management, ensuring that we provide great service levels, high service levels, and fulfilling their needs. So given our heavy emphasis on service levels and our heavy emphasis on customer support, we take essentially the strategic decision to invest in initiatives that support our growth vision. And so we look at the objectives of our customers, we look at their channel plans, we look at their expansion plans, we look at their gap areas with them. And where we see alignment, we make it clear and we identify the synergies. And our customers literally know that once there's a synergy and once we see a pathway for volume growth and sustained volume growth, that we will make an investment and ensure that we support the activation of their plans. And so what we found, particularly for Q1, is that this process that we've invested in for some time now is actually reaping benefit, because we're now seeing the tangible ROI from key brands that we support for our customers. And so in Q1, what we saw was through our support of their marketing initiatives, of their sales initiatives, of their trade programs, and I would say even in particular as it relates to the bad soap category, which is an interesting one for us, we're seeing where our investment in these programs and our support for our customers and our consistent support and real support is reaping benefit. And so what we're seeing is progressive volume growth from numerous customers as it pertains to brands that we have taken the time out to support over the past few quarters. Ultimately, what this has resulted in is an increased share of shelf for products that are made in our Blue Power factory. Now, our gross profit for the quarter was $95.5 million, and it really, I want to say, represents the diligence, I would say, of our teams across a few areas. One is supplier management and relationships. And so coming into this financial year, we knew that it was of paramount importance. And, in a very serious way, we had to connect with our suppliers, share with them our vision, share with them our challenges, and share with them our opportunities, given our strategic direction. And so we took the time out to travel across the world to visit them and to have very frank discussions to see how is it that we can strengthen our relationships as we pivot for increased volumes for the future. And that's actually extremely critical for us as we seek to follow through on our vision. We also use that opportunity to learn more about our industry and see how we could cultivate in our own Blue Power factory best practices from industry leaders. The second factor, I think, that really influenced our good performance was strategic sourcing, I'm sorry. And we have been analyzing our sourcing network for some time, and we've identified some key raw material that we could find new sources for. And in finding those new sources, ensure that the quality is maintained. And so what has happened is that in recognizing these opportunities for cost savings without impacting the quality of our product, that as we transition progressively to onboarding some of these new sources of raw material, that the cost of goods in some respects has benefited from this, and this has been reaped in Q1. The third factor that I would say contributes to our GP improvement is one that I consider to be a key driver overall of our business. And this is the maximizing on efficiencies gained from our capital expenditure. Now, heading into this financial year, our production team, and I'll just call names because I'm very, very proud of the team, led by Raquel Henry, Jermaine Vanzi, and Miguel Rodriguez. They have been very deliberate in ensuring that our lines remain active and ensuring also that our team adapts well to the technological advancements as we onboard these new equipment into our factory. And that's very important. And with that, we have found that we have onboarded successfully the new equipment. And this has afforded us, in essence, the ability to produce more bars in the same time period. These newer machines are also more energy efficient, and they allow for the streamlining of manufacturing, which ultimately reduces the need for some manual labor. And so ultimately what happens what has happened and has come to fruition in Q1 in particular is that through these capital investments, we're seeing lower costs while we're increasing output. Going to just finalizing on GPs and profits. I must say as well, I've mentioned some key team members, Lisa Kong and our production team, our chief accountant, Miss Andreen Jones, and her team have been extremely prudent. And so what has happened is while our gross profit has increased, we have not overspent on our expense line items. We have, in fact, maintained our expenses to what was budgeted. And that good financial management has resulted in the impact, in a positive impact on our PBT and our net profits at the end of the day, which, as you can see here, are 60 million and 48.5 million respectively, which is an increase over prior year as well, clearly. Fortunately, the earnings per share also increased in Q1, which should be good news for shareholders. And as we progress as a company, and I think when we reached at the segment of this presentation, which speaks to an overview, I'd love to share with you how I see our business growing and how I see, ultimately the value of our business increasing. Now, as we look at the balance sheet, I'll just quickly go through what's happening here. So to share with you our business model and, just give some insight on how our business works. We typically have material coming in from overseas. Sometimes, depending on the raw material, it's coming from as far as Asia. And depending on where it is at that time, at a point in time, and when we're doing our accounts, it will be captured as a prepayment. As our business has increased, our sales have increased, our receivables naturally will increase as well. So what has happened is you do see that increase in 69%. But what I'll also say is we meet every month, and our receivables, we're pretty confident, and we're typically, as you can see in our past audited results, that there's not much risk there because we stay on top of our receivables, and given the relationship we have with our customers, we have ongoing positive relationships, and so we don't typically go over our receivable days, and we're pretty confident in our team in maintaining that. I want the team as well to take note of the cash and cash equivalents. The listeners, we'll speak on that a bit later. But as you can see right now, it's at about 343 million, which bodes well for us as we seek to invest in the future. And our net current assets have increased to 247 million. From a cash flow perspective, what has happened with our business is that as we have increased our sales and we've increased our gross profit, our net cash from operations has increased by about 60%. As you can see on screen, translates to about $37 million. And net cash used by investing, about $3 million. Net cash used by financing, 205,000. Not necessarily key figures for us to note right now, but again, as we look to the future, which is what I kind of want to touch, spend a little time on, we'll be able to recognize how Blue Power plans to evolve in the coming years. And I think in speaking about that evolution, I just want to say first that I'm very excited as general manager about what the future holds for Blue Power. Our Q1 results, as you've seen, has been very positive. And with the team that we have here on site and the plans that we have, I do feel very positive about where we're going. Now, whoever follows Blue Power would probably know that, we have purchased the land across the road from 4 Victoria Avenue, where we're situated. That land is about 3 acres, where we see ourselves in the future. And just sharing with you what our vision is. We want to evolve. We believe that Jamaica has a lot of potential. We believe that Jamaican manufacturing has a lot of potential. And as players in the personal care space, we want to do in the personal care space what we consider to be next level. And we see a lot of opportunities in the space. We see that there are opportunities beyond just bar soap manufacturing. And so as we look into the future, we are seriously putting time and effort into understanding where these gaps are, where we can effectively and practically play in the personal care space beyond bar soap manufacturing, and ultimately, in the next 5 years, how we can evolve Blue Power within that time frame to become a bigger Jamaican company that employs more Jamaican people, that provides products not just to Jamaica, but to CARICOM and to non-CARICOM countries, and not just bar soaps, but soaps and other items that fit in the personal care category that go beyond bar soaps. And so as we seek to go into that direction, and put a lot of effort into doing that, um, we do see where at the end of the day, from our standpoint, Blue Power will become a larger company, a company that, you know, will be great for Jamaica, and ultimately a company that our shareholders and our employees can be very proud of and very excited about as we move forward into the future. So I think for me, that really wraps up what I wanted to share on this earnings call. I think all in all, in summary, we have had a very good Q1. We have seen the benefits of a lot of our capital investments. We continue and will continue to make more capital investments in machinery as we seek to evolve in this soap space. And our team will continue to be very prudent and practical as it pertains to managing our financials. And the future, especially in my eyes as general manager, I am excited about it, and it does look bright. So I think, Renate and everyone listening, I think that's pretty much my presentation, and I thank you for listening. And I welcome any questions.
Okay, thank you so much for that, VJ. I think that was very comprehensive and left little room for questions. But we do have one question that came in from Matthew Baker, and that one came in actually before we started the earnings call. So let's just take that one now. Matthew says that your audited financials indicates two customers who account for like 80% of revenues. Can you shed some light on this? Is it a distributor or is it a related party? What can you tell them? What can you tell your shareholders about this 80%?
Thank you. Thank you for the question, Matthew. So what I can say is, we have, I think in the presentation, I spoke to what we're trying to do, and what our model is and how we are seeking to attract and partner with customers that are serious about numerous things, including distribution and volume growth and having a plan. Mm-hmm. And so what I can say to you, Matthew, is that our customers are partners, essentially, that have established brands in Jamaica. They have very deliberate and strategic plans for growth. And together, we're building even newer ideas. We're innovating with them. And so, yes, they are prominent companies. And as we progress, our objective is to expand the number of customers that we have, and ultimately see how we can work on the mix.
Okay. So Matthew, let us know if that answers your question, what you're actually trying to understand from the statement made in the financials. All right. So we have a few questions from the community as well that we'd like to address. The first one is, what percentage of your business is local versus exports, and how will that change in the coming year?
Thanks. So right now we're between 5 to 7%, about 6% thereabouts, export based. As we progress, our vision and our objective really is to grow our CARICOM sales, grow our non-CARICOM sales, while we continue to grow in domestic market. So I can't necessarily put a percentage to it as yet, but what I can say is that going into next year, um, you will see some real deliberate activity from Blue Power, particularly in the non-CARICOM and CARICOM spaces to initiate new brands, to grow current brands, and to kind of expand our offerings in those spaces.
Right. I do recall it being spoken about at the AGM and also in your report about there being a focus to expand to Guyana and I believe the Southern Caribbean
Correct.
as well and Eastern, right? So,
Yeah. And what I would say about that too is that we do have a lot of interest from customers in those spaces. And so it does give us a lot of confidence in terms of what we do here, because what we recognize is that the quality of products that we make, quality is a word that's thrown around a lot. But we are extremely confident about the quality of our products because we don't necessarily, in some of these cases, people reach out to us. People who are serious about business, who want to work with us because they recognize and they trust what we do and they trust our ethos. They know we have integrity, they know we're reliable, and for them, their consumers are asking for products that come from our factory. So we're very proud of that.
awesome. So the next question is what new products are the focus for this financial year?
Okay, so what I'd say is for private labelers, I can't speak much to that. But from a Blue Power perspective, I think we're refining a lot of what we're doing right now. And the truth is, Renee, a lot of what we do is for the customers that we consider to be our strategic partners. One of the items, though, that we do have right now that you could see out there is the Blue Power powdered cake soap, which I think is it's a unique innovation. A lot of people created their cake soaps and put in the washing machine. This innovation now it renders all of that physical process null because it's now in powdered format. So again, we're innovators here at Blue Power, and I do think that I mentioned it before, but one of the things about our customers that we think we offer as a competitive advantage is that they feel comfortable with us because they know they can innovate with us. And they feel comfortable because they know that they can trust us to work with them for the betterment of their business and the progression of their business. So just making the point again that that's what we do here. We innovate and we manage our relationships and we work for the customers and strategic partners that we serve.
All right. That leads to the next question. Will you need funding for your upcoming expansion?
So, that's a good question. We have, and I guess I did speak about it in the balance sheet that when we spoke to the overview, but I didn't connect it. We do have cash in the bank, as you can see.
Yes.
And so for us, it's going to be, we want to ensure that we're extremely practical and we think it through very well, because as mentioned in the overview, we're looking deeply at where the opportunities are. We know what our vision is, which is to become a much larger player in the personal care space. And so we want to do it the right way. We want to take the time out to properly dissect the scenario. So when we're making the investment and utilizing whatever cash we have in the bank for the investment purposes, that we utilize it effectively and we maximize all capital investments that we're going to make. So yes, ultimately, I think that's really where we're going, and hopefully in a few years we'll see the results of that.
All right. So I think Simon's question is a good follow-up to that one, right? So Simon says
Yes, yes, Simon, thank you.
you have 342 million in cash as at July, which you mentioned,
Yeah.
right? Are there any plans to use that to grow inorganically? So you would have mentioned the expansion plans and the potential to use that, but is there consideration for inorganic growth as well?
Yeah, I mean, yes, and yes, there is. We can't speak too much right now on some of the things that we're doing, but I think it will be seen in the future. But yes, to answer the question, Simon, yes, there are some plans to utilize some of that cash for inorganic growth as well.
Okay. All right. That is good to know. So there are potential and current investors asking, does Blue Power pay dividends? And if yes, what is your policy?
Yeah, so we do pay dividends. I won't necessarily say that there's a policy per se, but what I can say is that at the board level, um, the the satisfaction of our shareholders is pivotal and is paramount for our board members. And so at the end of each financial year, it is a very serious discussion. And at the end of the day, members of the board are keen on ensuring that our shareholders can receive value in the form of dividends once we're capable of doing so.
All right. Thank you for that. And I see the questions are flowing in. So the next community question is, are there any business segments that you're focused on growing right now? Again, you would have mentioned several categories of soap and personal care soap.
So what I'd say is in the bath soap segment in particular, we see a lot of opportunity. Our goal, as mentioned, is to have soaps manufactured by Blue Power be represented across every segment of soap tiers on the shelf. And so we know that there are areas that we're well represented, but then there are other areas, for example, like in that premium space, that we may not be as represented. And so as we look to innovation and look to tackling those gap areas, our focus is on seeing how we can kind of close those gaps in the areas where we're not featured. And these areas do include areas in the bath soap segment that are in the premium category, right? In particular. And additionally, and this is not necessarily segment related, but more market related, as we evolve our brands in the Jamaican space, we recognize that there are things that we do here and there are spaces that we play in here that have a lot of value in the diaspora.
That's right.
And so a big part of how we see ourselves kind of growing, not necessarily in the segments, but just growing as a business is looking at those diaspora areas in the US, in Canada, in CARICOM, and kind of modeling what we do here and pivoting it to what the requirements in those markets are.
Got it. So in terms of business segments, we are focusing on growth in the premium spaces based on your prominence.
So
other spaces.
so essentially any area where we see that soaps made by Blue Power do not feature, we want to ensure that we're featured there. And so right now we see that that is a potential gap area.
Great. So I think that's a good way to jump to Daniel's question, which says, you mentioned various categories of soap. Does Blue Power have their own brands in these spaces, and what are some of these brands?
Yeah, so we do have our own brands. I think when Blue Power in fact, from inception, when Blue Power just started, so we do carry a Blue Power Carbolic, we do carry a Blue Power Laundry Bar, and we do carry a Blue Power bath soap called Blue Power Castile.
Right. And so we're adding the slide to the screen so persons can see the brands and the labels as well. So when you go shopping, you can identify
Right, that's
these,
correct.
right?
Yeah.
Okay. All right. So thank you for that question, Daniel. And we're heading back to Simon,
Yeah.
who asks or states first that Blue Power has basically no debt. So has there been or has that been a deliberate strategy and why?
Yeah, so and that's a very good observation from Simon, and yes, I would say that it is deliberate. Um, Whenever we take on debt, the objective is always to utilize that debt towards something that's going to add some value.
Right.
And so, kind of going back to his previous question about the cash that we have in hand and how that ties back to what our future goals are, I think when we do decide to go that route, it's going to be tied back, and in fact, it will be tied back to some strategic investment that we believe is going to reap a particular ROI as we progress. So yes, um, it is a deliberate strategy from our
Yes.
end, and when we do it, we do it with a particular purpose.
Got you. This is another interesting one from Simon. How does Blue Power leverage the relationship of its board members, all stalwarts in their own space?
All right, great. So, relationship management is very important in this space. And I mentioned earlier, I think when I was just starting, that one of the reasons I think why Blue Power has developed how it has developed, I think we were the second company to be listed on the stock exchange, is because of the visionary leadership and the support that we've gotten from our leadership team. Now, we have members of our board, as Simon has indicated, that have vast experiences and they have connections and they have relationships. And so, without calling any names, because we're private labels, we have been able over the years and over the decades to build, to innovate with massive distributors, established brands, um, and overseas territories, to get in touch with top distributors in overseas territories, to gain entry into Caribbean markets with distributors that are like-minded. And so over the years, I'd say our board has been very influential in getting us to where we are now. And they utilize their connections, they utilize their relationships, and they're very open with what they have to offer for Blue Power, and that's something we're very happy for.
And that's valuable in any board,
Yeah.
right? So Raheem has a question. Who is the biggest competitor in your space and what is your current market share?
Okay. So, we're about what we're about. As a sub factory and as a factory and as a company that's looking to grow in personal care, I'm not sure if I can even say who our major competitor is. I'm not sure if I'd even want to look in that direction, because for us, we are really focused on what we're doing. And taking it back to my introduction, we embrace challenges, we have a vision, and for us, we're going after it. And at the end of the day, that's all we need to know about us. And I think that's something that is important for everybody who is looking at Blue Power to understand. Our leaders have really done well to get us where we are. We have a team that is comprised, as mentioned before, of persons of vision and persons of action. And so where we're going, we're very confident that we have a team that is going to get us there.
Yes.
And where we're going is somewhere that I think at the end of the day, Jamaicans can be very proud of.
That's awesome to hear, and a good point on which to segue into how Blue Power impacts the community. So Simon asked the question, as a part of your CSR, touch on some of the ways in which Blue Power supports its surrounding communities.
Great.
And I think we had a slide on that
Yeah,
that we skipped.
and we skipped that slide.
Yes, so
Is it
I'll
possible
share
to actually
that.
just go back to that slide? Thank you for that,
Absolutely.
Simon. So this slide is indicative of just two events that we support. One is the Aging Fair. The other is the National Senior Citizen Spelling Bee competition. We have a real connection to this space. We've supported it for a while now. We also, within the community, support numerous events. So, for example, the Franklin Town Summer Camp, the Franklin Town Football Extravaganza. I think we tend to do a lot of competitions within our community,
Space,
and there are a
yes.
lot of football competitions as well that we support. We also support numerous sporting initiatives as well. So we've done stuff for the Jamaica Badminton Association, for the Jamaica Chess Federation. So from time to time, we identify things that could bring some level of national prominence and play our own part in making that happen. We also, within our community, and just recently held a job fair because we do have team members here from the community. And for us, it's very important to continue building in the community. There are other things that are one-off, and that happen all the time as well, that we don't really speak about. But we do help various institutions around the place with whatever it is that they ask for. And we'll continue to do so because it really is just entrenched in the way we work.
Awesome. Thank you for that. And Simon says that the silver economy is very important. I like that. And Blue Power has done a lot in Eastern Kingston to leave its mark. Kudos to you.
Thank you, Simon.
And I echo that sentiment. That is good to see. Our seniors are a very important group, and we need not leave them out in any way. And the final question I'm seeing here is, are you currently focused on organic or inorganic growth, which I believe you would have touched on before, but if you'd like to recap, you can go ahead.
So, we're focused on both. We believe in planning.
Yes.
We really believe in planning. And again, this is why even when it comes to how we're going to be investing over the next year to 2 years and our ultimate goal for expanding in the personal care space, we're taking the time out to do it right because we do believe in planning and planning effectively. With that said, we do believe that a lot of the work that we've done and over the past few years, particularly as it pertains to innovation, particularly as it pertains to how we've worked with our strategic partners or customers, the effort we've given to their brand development, the effort we've given to their innovation, we believe that there's going to be inorganic growth that will just naturally occur because of the time and effort that we put in over the past few years, and that they themselves have clearly put in over the past few years. Because as mentioned, we want to work with persons who have a plan and are serious about growth. And so from both ends, yes, we do see growth occurring, and we are focused on both.
All right. So thank you so much for the time, Vijay. Again, it was a very comprehensive presentation. I think you gave great context to Blue Power as a company, what your focus is now, what you would have done in Q1, what you're looking to do in 2025 and beyond. So thank you for that time. And I thank the audience for participating and sharing your questions. If it is, though, that you are watching this on the replay and you do not and you did not have an opportunity to share your questions live, please feel free to leave them in the comments below the video, and we will ensure that the Blue Power team gets them to respond to you as soon as possible. So again, we thank you for being here with us today. And VJ, thank you and the Blue Power team for opening up to your shareholders in this way and coming on the platform to make sure that you have this connection and this mode of communication with your shareholders. It is greatly appreciated.
Thank you, and thank you for having me.
All right. So we will see you on the next call.
Take care, everybody.